It's New Waterford's hit station.
With Adam McLean.
107.7 The Pop.
Welcome to 107.7 The Pop Radio, and my name's Adam McLean, the owner and the host, and today I'm here with Tim Houston, the leader of the Nova Scotia Progressive Conservative Party and the MLA for Pictou East. Thanks for being here today.
I'm happy to be here, man. I'm honored that you had me as a guest today. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. I'd just like to start off, give me a little bit about your background.
Sure. I just turned 50 in April, so don't let the gray hair fool you. But I'm married. I've been married for 25 years. I have two kids. I have a daughter who just turned 21, and she's in university, starting law school. And I have a son who's 19. He's studying business at the community college. And so we just came from a military family. So I was born in Halifax, moved around quite a bit as a child with my dad's postings.
Okay.
But ultimately he was posted back to Shearwater, was his retirement posting. I was in grade 8 at the time. So basically junior high, high school, St. Mary's University, all in Halifax, chartered accountant. So I did my chartered accountancy training in Halifax, and then got married, and I was in business for about 20 years. I got involved in politics. I was elected in 2013, and prior to that, didn't really have that much interest in politics, but I got interested in politics, and I've been elected in 2013, elected in 2017, became leader in 2018, and in the next provincial election, I'll be asking Nova Scotians to support me as their next premier. So,
Awesome.
Lots on the go.
Yeah. So, as the leader of the PC party, what are the biggest issues for you in our province right now?
Look, this is a great province. I mean, this is you can't get in a car and drive 10 minutes and not find someplace in Nova Scotia where you go. I could live here. Like it's a wonderful province. It has a lot of potential, and I see the potential for this province. And what's driving me forward is helping this province reach its potential. So this can be a place where people can really thrive, can do what they can achieve whatever they want to achieve. And I believe that it can happen right here in Nova Scotia. And I believe that post-COVID, in the post-COVID world, where people are really trying to rebalance their life, they're searching more for a quality of life. We have that quality of life. So I think this is a place where people would want to live, want to work. For me, it's all about making sure that the provincial government does what it can to make sure that people understand that they can live here and can work from here. So the challenges are real. I mean, there's lots of challenges in healthcare. Access to care is an issue. Access to mental health services is an issue. There's issues around long-term care. These are things that are on the minds of people. Certainly people are always concerned. They want to make sure that their children, that their grandchildren are getting a quality education that's preparing them for life. So healthcare, education, big issues. But then of course provincial politics. You can talk about roads, access to proper internet, fiber up across the province. I mean, these are the types of things that people talk to me about and mention, and that I'm totally focused on, because I believe if the provincial government can do what it should do, what it needs to do in those areas, that this will be a place that really takes off over the next 5-10 years.
Yeah. So we recently went back to school. I'm a grade 12 student at Breton Education Centre. What were your thoughts on the back to school plan, and what would you have done differently?
Yeah, well, the back to school, I mean, there was a lot of anxiety. I think, second week now, your experience is probably pretty good. How are you feeling about things?
Yeah,
I mean,
school for me has been pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I think for the most part I'm hearing, but certainly there's a lot of anxiety. People were worried about the return to school, and they continue to be worried about things. But this is something. It's actually an interesting area, because as leader of the opposition, it's people say it's easy to criticize, but I won't criticize without putting forward my own ideas and my own solutions. So, back by about May, people were starting to say, what does September look like for school? And I wasn't hearing anything. I wasn't hearing anything from the government. There wasn't much discussion about it. I talked to a minister from another province, an education minister. When I heard of how far advanced they were on preparing for September and compared that to where we were at in Nova Scotia, I got a bit panicked. Literally, they were, when COVID came in March, April, they kind of said in this other province, we'll get through this school year. We'll finish out the school year, but let's put all of our energy into September. And they were ordering new buses, ordering iPads, taking all kinds of steps to prepare that weren't happening here. So right away at that time, we got to work, and we actually put out in June. We put out our own plan, ready for what's next, the restart of the school year, where we made a bunch of recommendations about how we thought school could safely return. And, in that time, 3 months forward. Because what we were hearing from the government was that they would come up with a plan at some point, and they were talking that they'd put it out in August, which to me seemed way too late. I think our plan worked in a couple ways, because I think it started a discussion that wouldn't have otherwise started. It ultimately, I believe, forced the hand of the government, who put out what they called was a plan in late July, instead of August. I think it kind of sped them up. So. I think that we had in researching our plan, we talked to a lot of leading child psychologists about what they thought was necessary for the physical and emotional and mental development of students, and for younger kids, it was always they need to be around their peers, they need to be in school in a safe way. So we talked about that in our plan. We also talked about the need to be ready with online education and make sure that any experience away from school is also educating children. They can learn a lot away from school about what they like and life in general. So we were, we didn't sit in the weeds on that one. We kind of led and put a plan out there, and many of the things that were in our plan were also in the government one. So so I was happy to see that. But I think what was the major source of stress and anxiety for students and teachers and families in general was just that it all seemed kind of rushed at the end. The day school went in, we had a list of 130 questions that we'd received from families that were still unanswered. And we always knew that the ground would shift. Yep. People expect things change. It's a global pandemic. Who could possibly know? But that doesn't mean that you don't prepare and be ready. So I'm glad that so far, touch wood, so far up to this point, this return to school has been very safe. It seems like people are settling back in. That's a good thing. I'm really happy about that. Yep. And it's also a file that we were watching for a long time.
All right. So here in Cape Breton. Around last summer, there was a few big announcements about healthcare, some expansions at the regional hospital, Glace Bay, the CBRM healthcare redevelopment plan. If you were to get in as premier, would these plans still be in place, or would they change with healthcare?
Yeah, I think. Look, I'm not in the business of taking things backwards, and I think we need to look at how we deliver healthcare in the province. We need to understand that the government is going to have to invest in people in many ways to do that. Particularly around healthcare, you can invest in the staff and the people working there. And we need to invest in infrastructure. So these are things that we need. We need new healthcare infrastructure. So I'm not in the business of, well, they did it, they said that, so we're going to do the opposite. I'm not interested in that. And in fact, we put out a plan for long-term care, which would see a very, very significant investment in physical infrastructure. More rooms, more single rooms. We have a lot of seniors that are waiting for long-term care, So those are things that we know those investments have to happen. We've detailed that all out in a significant plan that can make sure that our seniors live with dignity. So that would be more staff and 2,000 more healthcare professionals looking after our staff. That would be more rooms, more single rooms. And also, I think what's kind of been missing in a lot of ways is that there's been a push for seniors in particular to stay at home longer, which I think is good in many ways. But the problem is you have stay-at-home care and then you have nursing home care. So there are people that can't be fully at home on their own, but they don't have complex nursing needs. So we need to address that need too. So we've outlined a whole level of care around supportive living. So I think yes to investment in healthcare infrastructure, but making sure we get it right. So maybe we need to tweak things, but yes to investing in our seniors' way. These are big focuses of mine, and they have to be done.
Yep. Okay, so for me personally, I'm from New Waterford. When we had our big announcement in New Waterford, they announced a community health center, a long-term care center, and another big one for our town was the new Breton Education Center. That building needs replacing, I guess, and with this plan, we are getting brand new sports fields, a new artificial turf, new tennis courts, and they're actually in the process now. So you said you want to focus on infrastructure, but the school too, would that be changed?
No, I think, look, it's the, I've been to Breton Education Center and watched the basketball game, met you there for the first time, so I've seen the infrastructure, and I know the community push that was behind that, and I know the effort, and I think when you start talking about specifically around the sports fields and access to physical activity is so important it's one of the main determinants of somebody's health outcomes. So that's really important, and I'm very proud of that plan, that part of it that went forward. But certainly, healthcare infrastructure, our schools, many of our schools are in really, really bad states of repair. We have to invest in those things. So, I mean, the government put forward a plan for these things. That plan is rolling forward, and I think that what I would be interested in doing as Premier is continuing to look forward and saying, how do we make things better, as opposed to let's stop that and go backwards. Nobody wants to go backwards, and I don't want any Nova Scotian to feel that their community is left behind. I want to add to communities, not take away. So I think I know from my own experiences from spending some time in New Waterford, talking to people on their doorsteps, meeting them on the street, that they're excited about the change. They want it to work, they want it to happen, they want to make sure that it delivers, helps deliver the education, helps return dignity to the seniors. They want all those things, and I think that's where government needs to execute properly and make sure that things happen as they were portrayed, within the budget, and not some spiraling costs and stuff like that. So there's lots to do around making sure that the plan that's been laid out happens as it was laid out, and that's where my focus would be.
Well, awesome. Big one in the CBRM is equalization. What's your stance on that?
Yeah, so the relationship between the province and the municipalities is one that's governed by a memorandum of understanding. And that's the document that says the province will do this, municipalities will do that. That memorandum of understanding is very old. Very old. It really hasn't been reviewed and refreshed in decades. But the world's changed. So what my commitment has been to Nova Scotians is that as Premier, we'll renegotiate the MOU, make it modern, have a serious discussion about property taxes, have a serious discussion about exchange of services, who pays for what, and then that's my commitment. So modernize that relationship. But as a show of my commitment, as a show of my good faith, I've said that I would double the payments from the province to the municipalities. Well, that is being renegotiated. So I wouldn't just say, hey, sometime we're gonna get that renegotiated. I'll say right now today, I'm going to double it while we're negotiating. So for this area, for CBRM, it would mean an extra $15 million a year that would be invested in CBRM. There's a lot of good that can happen with that, and across the province, it's like 32 million extra, from 32 to 64. So here's the thing that I say, like nobody should feel like they're being let down by their government, and I know there's a lot of people that feel like they are with the federal, and should they get more federal share, and I think that's something that we have to listen to, we have to respect, but both sides need to be respectful of the discussion, and what my commitment is to renegotiate the MOU between the province and the municipalities.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming in today for the interview, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, no, pleased to be here with you. I'm proud of what you're doing, and you're an inspiration to me at your age to be doing what you're doing and contributing to your community in a positive way. You're leading by example, and I hope to follow your lead.
Well,
So
thank you
for having me.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Follow us on Twitter.
107.7.
The Pop.